This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio A.M. Today is finally Friday, May 16th, until after 11 o'clock in the morning. Once again, this is CA Newry and I shall be your host for the day. Actually, I was supposed to have guests today. I waited downstairs, that's why we started late. They didn't show up. Right, but no, we always prepared for that. We always have 2 or 3 shows lying up just in case. And sometimes, you just have to go back to the newspaper. Guardian News is always filled with news. So you can always go by the Nassau Guardian and see the various topics we were talking about. Before I start, because only one thing trending right now, which is Grand Bahama. Grand Bahama is trending. I want to read that into the record. And I don't want to challenge what's happening in Grand Bahama. I want to celebrate what is happening in Grand Bahama. But I have 1 or 2 questions I want to put out there. So the listening audience, if they feel the need to continue to press these questions on to the government, you can go ahead. But I have 1 or 2 questions still. But before that, I want to say that Guardian Media Group and Going Places Travel want to take you on a 7-day cruise for 4 to Panama, Colombia, and Curacao, and Aruba. On the Royal Caribbean Serenade of the Seas, and here's the best part, no visa is required. That's right, no visa. You have 4 ways to enter and 4 ways to win. Fill out the form in the Nassau Guardian. That's the first way. The second way is listen to Star 106.5 and the Guardian Radio 96.9. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, or make purchase at Going Places Travel. Entry deadline is June 27th, which is next month, 2025. Drawing is on July 4th, 2025. So pack up your bags, get ready to soak up the sun and feel that ocean breeze. You and 3 loved ones, that means that's 4 of you, with a loved one sailing the high seas on a vacation cruise of a lifetime. Brought to you by the Guardian Media Group and Going Places Travel. And of course, certain conditions apply, which is like airfare, taxes, and gratuities are not included. So let's talk about Grand Bahama. Aaron, pull up that story for me so we just read that into the record so everyone can understand. Because a lot of people don't read the papers and they depend upon us to give them their first insight in the news. So I want people to know that something big is happening in Grand Bahama after a long time of just stuckedness. That's the word I just make up. When you stuckedness. After a long period of stuckedness, no, I don't want to say that because I don't want to preempt what I was going to say. There seems to be movement. Some hotels. There's a big plan for the hotels. I think it's $83 million. I got to look at my notes in investment. But let's read that. Perhaps the paper will say that. Go ahead, Aaron.
Good morning, Mr. Newry. So, the cover of today's Nassau Guardian, Grand Day for Grand Bahama. The story is actually in the business section of today's Nassau Guardian. Redeveloped Grand Lucayan will have 7 powerful cylinders. Owner. The Nassau Tribune headline, a grand occasion. You want to start with the Guardian?
They corrected me with a number. It's 827.
I was going to
get
right there.
I remember seeing something, but go ahead.
Yeah. We'll start with the Guardian article. The $827 million redevelopment of the Grand Lucayan Resort on Grand Bahama will be akin to a 7-cylinder engine, with all parts helping to drive the economic success of the property's redevelopment. The president of Concord, Wilshire, the property's new owner, Nate Sarang, said yesterday. First thing of note, nobody told them don't reference engine in a foreign investor discourse. Just don't reference engine. We still have 7, 8. How many we have? We still don't know. We still don't know how many engines we got in the last deal. Don't reference engines. Quote, what we're creating and developing here is really one powerful economic resort engine with 7 different integrated cylinders, close quotes, said Sarang at the signing of the heads of agreement for the redevelopment of the Grand Lucayan Resort. Quote, in order for us to ignite these different 7 cylinders, we need to control, finance, and integrate 7 different resort elements. In his remarks, Sarang explained that the first cylinder of the new complex is a 35-acre cruise ship destination resort?
Yes, but we can talk about it later. Don't talk about this. Just read the article. That's one.
I lost my breath just now. Sorry about that. We continue. During his remarks, Sarang explained that the first cylinder of the new complex is a 35-acre cruise ship destination resort that will be open to guests of all cruise lines, local residents, and hotel guests. He said the second cylinder is a 25,000 square foot indoor and outdoor poolside casino. The third cylinder, Sarang said, will be a branded hotel that will have 350 rooms connected to a convention center. It's not connected to the casino.
So keep on going.
No problem. According to Sarang, the fourth and fifth cylinders, respectively, are a 120-unit time-share residential resort. And the conversion of the existing Reef Golf Course to a 160-acre Greg Norman Championship sixth cylinder is a 16-slip mega yacht marina that will be able to accommodate up to 250-foot mega yachts. The seventh cylinder will be an integration of the redeveloped Grand Lucayan property with Port Lucaya Marketplace. Sarang explained that the owner of the Port Lucaya Marketplace, Bahamaland Investment, owned by Peter Hunt, is also and the associated uplands, which he said will also be part of the full integration into the new Grand Lucayan redevelopment. Concord, Wilshire, which will begin redeveloping the hotel campus as soon as all approvals are received, is a U.S.-based real estate development company that is more than 30 years old.
Give me a reading. We can talk about it later. Go ahead.
Sarang said the company focuses on residential, hotel, and mixed-use developments, as well as large master-planned communities throughout the U.S. Quote, our company, unlike a lot of our competitors, is deeply rooted in values that go far beyond our balance sheet, close quotes, he said. Quote, at the core of all of our projects is one simple principle. The community comes first, close quotes. Prime Minister Philip Davis said more than 1,300 jobs will be created during the construction phase of the redevelopment and 750 permanent jobs when the development is operational. End of article.
Okay. Now, let me start by first congratulating the government, right? The journey to have this impetus in the Grand Bahama has been long, with a number of instances where it didn't work out. So this looks like it's working out. Also, I wanted to congratulate the investor. Hold on, when you say yet, it's a preamble. You write down these things. Be analyzing it, right? I wanted to congratulate the investor for committing to the Bahamas, and particularly Grand Bahama. This seemed to be a big project, $800 million plus, $820 million specifically, right? I want to congratulate them. I don't want to badmouth this, put any bad spokes inside this, because this needs to come into fruition. Let me say that. Hold on, Aaron. I know you eager. I see you.
No, I just want to know if we're going to interrogate it at all.
We're going to interrogate any minute now. I just got to do preamble because
I don't see no bicycles. I don't know why you're talking about spokes.
I don't want, particularly when you start analyzing, right? People say you're just negative. I want to say this is a good thing. Let's start off with this. Any development in Grand Bahama, which has been going through a slow period, a lag period, is a good thing. Now let's start now. Let's start. The property is owned by who currently? Yeah, that's you now.
I don't know.
I think the government has purchased this.
Oh, me, I own it.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
yeah, government, you.
Technically, I own
Yes,
it. Okay, I own
yes.
it. Yeah, all right.
I want to know how much you sold this property.
I
for.
don't know.
Does anyone in the Bahamas realize that we don't know yet how much we sold this for? Is it? I'm just asking now. Perhaps we are in a partnership. We're going to own the land, and an investor is going to manage the property and be some kind of PPP. Of course, I'm jesting here now, right? Because I don't think so. Hear announcements like this in a property we just bought recently, right? Where some people would say that we bought at a loss, right? As the properties in this area diminish and devalued. Surely, as part of the announcement, the comprehensive announcement, there would have been some indication of the Bahamas has transferred ownership to this new company for this amount. And at this present time, there seems to be silence. And I'm sure eventually you'd hear the announcement given. I just said I noticed. I'm not sure if you noticed that that information was not given at the press conference or afterwards or anything.
Do you know how much money has been spent from the time that the government assumed ownership of the entities and properties in question and the pitching the spade into the ground? You know how much money we spent maintaining since then?
One would assume that mainstream media would have had a separate story given the history and the narrative of the journey, remind the Bahamian people that this is what we paid, this is what happened, why it wasn't sold initially, and this is where we have come and conclude so far to keep the Bahamian people abreast of what is happening. I'm not sure if you haven't that business page. I mean, I ain't going through the paper yet. It might be there. You got to scan that, right? To see if it's there.
What would be looking for a detailed expenditure or economic report or briefing
Anything.
on costs and expenditures associated with Grand Lucayan since its purchase by the Bahamas government?
History. Ain't there. So I just tell you that. Let's go to my next. And I see you taking down notes too. Another question. Besides not knowing what we sold the properties for, right? Did they give us a timeline? And right, because I say I'm just glad they're doing it. But did it give us a timeline of all of this project is going to start one time? You know, like when they was doing that Bahama thing, and there's bulldozing buildings like crazy, and everything was being done almost simultaneously, or will it be done in phases? Because you know they say engine 1, engine 2, engine 3, engine 4.
There's one engine with 7 cylinders.
Okay, cylinders.
Not one plant with 7 engines.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure the term cylinders, if it means that means phases, with the last phase being the last hotel.
Phases versus elements.
Yeah.
Right, because phases suggests like consecutively, one after the other, while elements suggest that they could be built or coordinated simultaneously, like concurrently.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to be one massive project happening one time, right? Or it's going to be done in different stages, right? Mm-hmm. What was this first cylinder, if you remind me again?
The first cylinder is a 35-acre cruise ship destination resort.
A cruise ship destination resort. I'm not sure what that means. Are you familiar with cruise ship destination resorts?
Yeah, they call Bahama and Atlantis. They are resorts in cruise ship destinations. Okay. I'm not sure if the term as used in this article is referencing an entirely new concept, right? Because see, the people who come here on cruise ships, their beds are on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
So who is the resort for if the people on the cruise ship already have a bed? Is it a resort in a cruise ship destination? Is another thing. We already have them.
Yes. I got another article at records. Just so, again, the Bahamian people listening, as we do our critique, don't think that we overemphasize it. We just asking questions, right? Read that.
Say what?
No, just read
Somebody
that.
has a difficulty understanding
No,
what
I'm not saying
critical
that.
interrogation
I'm
is.
not saying that's what the case. I'm just saying making sure that people appreciate what we're doing. This is a past article.
This is February the 6th, 2025.
Yes.
Cooper, Grand Lucayan costs government $1 million per month, but occupancy, quote, fairly significant, close quotes.
How much per month and how much months passed by already?
$1 million per month?
And which year this was?
This article was posted this year, February 6th, 2025. Let's read the article because maybe, along with telling us that it costs $1 million to operate a month, what are they generating from this fairly significant occupancy, right? Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, said yesterday that the subvention to the Grand Lucayan Resort, $1 million per month, adding that notwithstanding the hefty subvention, the resort is posting, quote, fairly significant occupancy, close quotes, to the end of February. Quote, a lot of this is driven by tourism, but some of it is driven by the industrial sector. We're seeing significant movement in terms of the Grand Bahama shipyard and the start of that construction. And of course, the construction of Celebration Key, close quotes, Cooper said. So you're telling me that the people who are working, the laborers working on the port and the laborers working on the Grand Bahama shipyard are the people who are occupying?
They like apartments. But go ahead, finish with it.
Because not only is that not tourism, I'm not even sure, like...
You're overanalyzing. People is occupied. It's a fairly decent occupancy. Don't worry about that. Just finish with it.
For $1 million a month, there is no such thing as overanalyzing, sir. And yet, indicated how much they are generating in income per said month.
That's a secret. Finish the article.
No, hit the button.
Hold on. Let me open it back up to you so we can finish that article so people can appreciate what's happening. Go ahead.
Put the code in. He continued, quote, overall, the Grand Lucayan Resort is an important plank and is important to the infrastructure of the overall economy of Grand Bahama.
Yes.
It supports the local economy as well through meetings for conventions, weddings, parties, etc. Pointing to the Southern Family Islands. So let's stop there for a second because now they're not talking about Grand Bahama. Mr. Newry, you notice that nowhere in this brief little article did they indicate, yes, we are spending $1 million, but this level of significant occupancy amounts to this much revenue?
I noticed it.
Yeah, okay. Because I noticed it.
In more, we're going to read on the article, or we could move on.
But I mean, they point south, right? He continued, pointing to the Southern family are constrained in some cases by room capacity and also in some cases by lack of connectivity. Ragged Island, for example, has one small resort with about 8 rooms, and they are full for several months, mainly focused on fly fishing.
Concentrate on Grand Bahama and this thing. I commend the government again for keeping the hotel open. So that's $1 million a month. I am still happy about. I'm not going to diminish that at all. That was a good thing. Bahamians need jobs. I also want to go ahead.
But what if they were only generating $100,000 a month in revenue? What if they were only generating $50,000 a month in revenue? Or what if the occupancy that's referenced in the article doesn't actually generate any revenue in the sense that we're thinking because their occupancy is a part of a heads of agreement where these people will be housed in the space, right? What if?
Okay, let me ask you this. What is a heads of agreement versus the sale? Did we have a sale or did we have a heads of agreement? What exactly is a heads of agreement?
That in this instance, that doesn't matter because those people would have been occupying the building under terms of a heads of agreement before the sale.
No, I talk about this current one, not the what was previous. This
I'm saying in terms of the point that I'm making, the reason why I reference a heads of agreement, it has nothing to do with the sale because those people who, they were occupying because of the agreement, that the nature of their occupancy would change once there's a sale.
Understand.
You want to look at the second? Let's look at this. Is an interesting article. The second cylinder. Let's look right at it. The article says the second cylinder is a 25,000 square foot indoor and outdoor poolside casino.
Okay, so we're not going to have a indoor casino, but an outdoor casino?
No, it says an 25,000 square foot indoor and outdoor poolside casino.
Okay.
What's interesting about this is when we get to the third cylinder, right? The third cylinder will be a branded hotel that will have 350 rooms connected to a convention center, right? So here's my question about the first cylinder. Aren't casinos normally attached to hotels?
It seems to be an independent, standalone concept.
Right? Like, why do you reference that the third cylinder, the hotel, will be connected to a convention center, but the casino but won't the casino attach to a hotel?
Perhaps we have a different owner, not necessarily belong to the hotel or these people.
Along with the first cylinder, a 35-acre cruise ship destination resort, you're also adding another 350-room resort. Again, see, because that's the thing. The people on the cruise ship have a bed. If you are a part of our strategy to resume overnight cruising, right, where the cruise ships stay in port, we're not doing that so that they could go and stay in another foreigner's hotel. The purpose of that is to create experiences and opportunities to extract more revenue for Bahamians, directly for Bahamians, bypassing hotels and the government outside of the mayor and basic taxation, right? Like, I'm just saying, 35-acre cruise ship destination resort, which we still have to get clarity on exactly what that is, that will be open. See, it'll be open to all passengers from all cruise ships. Will the other cruise ships accommodate that? Will they partner, or is this venture going to sell this now to the cruise ships to say this is what you could do when you come here? The third cylinder, again, the 350 rooms connected to a convention center. The fourth and fifth cylinders, respectively, are, one, a 120-unit timeshare residential resort.
Is it safe to say this is going to be done in phases?
I mean,
clear.
There is not enough local labor available to complete of it. The fourth cylinder, a 120-unit timeshare residential resort. Early in the week, Newry, I was trying to find space for a conversation or a couple of questions that arose for me when I read an article about a court conflict, or a little conflict in a housing development in Delaport, and the HOA that manages the complex set out rules restricting the use of units, I guess, as short-term rentals, or rules around that, and there's a small group of members who object to that new policy or that policy, right? And so one of the questions is, should non-nationals, should non-Bahamian citizens be allowed to own and operate short-term rental, Airbnb-style short-term rental properties, right? We saw that the Windsor Lakes development, you may remember that as the Adelaide Pines development, the housing development for middle class to upper middle class people affiliated with Albany, I think, that morphed into the Windsor Lakes project. They advertised in their marketing material that unit owners could short-term themselves, or they could engage the management company of the wider complex to operate their unit as a short-term rental, right? And so here we have now the fourth cylinder, a 120-unit timeshare residential resort.
I get two texts. One is, will the employees be bought out, paid off as construction is happening, or will the hotel remain open whilst the first, second, third phase happens? I don't know.
Well, we could turn to the Tribune article and to see if information is revealed more about the local staff and the implications for them.
And then I have another text again who's asking me, how much did the company pay for the Grand Bahama Lucayan Hotel? And again, I don't know.
What I want to know is, how much did they pay for these matching pantsuit that they wore in the picture? Because it's a far better look than the SBF groundbreaking. Mind you, it looked very similar, you know. Reminiscent of, you know. But the suits, the pantsuits, are spectacular.
Would you be upset if the government sold the hotel for less than what they paid for it? Just to get the ball running?
Yes. But I tell you why. I wouldn't be upset, like, just because it happened, because these things, I'm not upset, like, it just happened. You buy something for more money and you have to end up selling it for less money. I get that part. I would be upset because of the lack of transparency and clarity that has followed the entire affair. See, that's when it becomes upsetting. We all get it. You buy a car for one price. When you sell it again, you're getting far less than you bought it for, even when you fix it up and maintain it. We get that part. It's the lack of clarity and transparency about the matter. Like, did you know that the Bahamas government Ministry of Social Services has a website called bahamascares.gov?
No.
.bs? It's actually a decent website. It exists. Right? It exists. Nobody knows it exists. Why don't we have a website, a portal on the government's website dedicated to publishing information, putting the data, the information in the public domain about this matter? This is not a political matter. This is a governance matter. Why are you treating the people like your political enemies? Why y'all even talk to each other like that? Yeah, but we gotta hide the people out there, and any opposition must be from, any critique must be from the opposition, and they're just bad-minded.
I just do a Google search. I got a Yahoo Finance page. I don't know how accurate this is, but it give me a price. You could always, since I Google it.
Yahoo Finance.
Yahoo Finance. I don't even know.
Dated Friday, May 16, 2025.
Yes.
Concord Wilshire Capital closes on $120 million purchase of iconic Grand Lucayan Resort in Grand Bahama.
So now we have a price.
Well, we got to read. No, that's just the caption. Hold on, that's just the caption.
120 million.
No, but we still have to read.
Go ahead.
Into
Remember
it.
just saying 120
Because
million.
remember, we read the letter from Valley Boys of these things,
Yeah.
and then when you get into the letter, which was dated April 25th, it said you actually got 7 days to respond, right? Okay, so here we go. Freeport, Bahamas, and Miami, May 16, 2025, Global News Wire. Concord Wilshire Capital announced that it has acquired the Grand Lucayan Resort from the Bahamian government, including the 56-acre beachfront resort and 160-acre reef golf course for $120 million. The transaction, which closed during a signing ceremony on the property yesterday, paves the way for the rebirth of one of Grand Bahama's most iconic properties. I just want to say that this article was posted at 10:50 a.m. this morning, right? So, because maybe our media didn't get the info before print time last night, but these guys didn't. They went digital.
We have websites soon. Go ahead. Sorry.
CWC has formed a strategic alliance with world-class brands to redevelop and repurpose the Grand Lucayan Resort into a mixed-use destination resort that will be home to a 36-acre cruise ship destination resort with a capacity of 10,000 passengers per day. But hold on, pause. I just have to say something. The prior commentary just now is not necessarily a critique of the Bahamian media. Perhaps it is that this foreign media entity was able to access this information from the foreign entity involved in the deal.
This may be breaking news for the Bahamas.
No, I didn't say that.
No, this is my point. Nobody in the Bahamas may know that $120 million was spent for the...
I agree with you. It's possible that nobody, not a soul in the Bahamas...
I don't like how you say it.
...knew that it... Because that's what you said. I didn't say it the same way?
Yeah, you make it hinted that the politicians don't know either.
Because you said no one knew.
But other than the politicians.
Because what I said was that maybe this foreign entity was able to get the information from the foreign country in a foreign jurisdiction. And maybe our reporters asked the entities that have this information in the Bahamas for said information.
And they said no comment?
And they couldn't get, they said no comments.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying that's possible as well. But I wanted to clear that up. It's not an indictment necessarily on our local media, but I'll get back to that sentence. I'll repeat it for you, sir. CWC has formed a strategic alliance with world-class brands to redevelop and repurpose the Grand Lucayan Resort into a mixed-use destination resort and walkable village that will be home to a 36-acre cruise ship destination resort with a capacity of 10,000 passengers per day. Okay, so stick a pin. Then what is a resort? Isn't a resort a place and attractions?
I was looking for the definition for that too to read, and they mentioned cruise ship resort means the cruise ship itself, but perhaps a resort have amenities that, like how downtown the
cruise port?
The cruise port could be a cruise ship resort because the cruise ships plug into that. They have the amenities.
But they don't overnight.
Yeah, but this may not be overnight neither. We assuming it's a hotel.
No,
it may not necessarily be a hotel.
Overnighting is attached to resort. See, a resort is a hotel with attractions.
And I'm saying a cruise ship resort could be just the attractions. Because they didn't say they're building a resort which will cater to cruise ship. This is a cruise ship resort. Maybe the definition is different. That it'll have a number. And this is why they said other cruise ships are welcome to this resort.
You mean the other cruise ships that are building their private experiences in private spaces for their private passengers?
But they welcome. They didn't say they come in. They said they welcome. Go ahead, finish it.
We continue from the open to all cruise lines, a state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot freestanding indoor and poolside casino. See, freestanding.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, the casino in Grand Bahama is separate from the hotel anyway. But I'm not sure.
Hold on, pause. See, how you say that? When the casino on the island was actually operating, was it separate from the hotel? Because what has been happening for the last few months while these entities have been under the government's ownership, we're not calling that tourism, are we?
This text is saying that this cruise ship resort is a beach club, like what is being built over PI.
Why are we allowing them to use the word resort? I mean, because at this point you understand that that's where the critique rests, right? Why are we accepting the use of this term resort, given all of the other dynamics and developments taking place on the same island? Anyway, let's continue. A branded hotel and residential resort containing 350 hotel keys and 120 residential and timeshare units. A 160-acre new Greg Norman Championship signature golf course. And an 18-slip mega yacht marina. The total estimated cost for land acquisition and this redevelopment plan is approximately $827 million.
Yes, but it seems as if we made a profit by selling the Lucayan Resort for $120 million.
When I sell this bridge up the road here today, apparently. I mean, I just saying, like, when you say that, it's not, and it's not even an indictment on the entity on Wilshire. That's not what that is. It's an indictment on the language that you use, Mr. Newry.
Yeah, I understand.
And the language in the media, and the language that others are suggesting that we should be comfortable with, right? The idea, because You're not the first person to suggest that he's going to be a Debbie Downer today in this conversation, right? In a number of spaces that I've been in, critical interrogation of this matter has been met with this. You don't like blessings, eh? The people. I'm being serious. The people of Grand Bahama don't deserve nice things, eh? That's the response to attempts at critical interrogation, because that's what we as citizens ought to do. Yes. Critically interrogate this.
We have a caller here. I just want to mention that the casino was separate but on property. Right,
and you hear the language. Notice the language in this statement that you just gave me, right? It suggests, right, like you understand that the casino is not attached to any heads in beds entity. But the question is, these cannot be concurrent phases, right? These cannot be things that are all going to be done simultaneously, because we don't have the labor.
We import labor now. Look at where this building I think would get burned down the other day by Old Trail. They had imported labor. Let's go to the callers.
I thought the people in the food stores import food. What you mean import?
The construction workers. Go ahead, caller. Guardian Radio A.M.
Good morning, Mr. Newry.
Good morning.
And good morning, Aaron.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
First, that situation you all had with yesterday, which tried to determine whether the court order was suspended with the Junkanoo thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Section 56 of the Magistrate Court says that any ruling by the magistrate is an appeal as a decision. Right?
No problem.
Now,
thanks.
what you just said with the $120 million purchase that they have advertised, they had paid, ministers paid $65 million for the hotel, right?
No, I'm not sure the amount, but we'll go ahead.
It was $65 million, and the Davis administration has been in power for 3 years and 8 months. That's 44 months. When you add the two of those, what you get? $109 million. How much is VAT? 10%? Right?
Go ahead.
That's another $11 million, bringing it to $120 million in my arithmetic.
Who paying the VAT?
Huh?
Who's paying the VAT?
I guess when you add 11 million.
No, I asked you who is paying the VAT.
I think that's what goes on top of that when you add 11 million.
Sir, I just it doesn't make sense you not answer the question, but you talk. Who is the $11 million in VAT? Who is paying that?
Yes, when you add 11 million to 65 and 44, you come to 120.
Okay. Long story short, you say we get back exactly the amount of money we spent on it.
No, that only covers the 44 months that the Davis administration has been in power. It doesn't cover nothing back from when they purchased it during the minutes months from 2018, right?
Okay. I appreciate that. We're going to take a quick break now as we interrogate what happened. As we said, we celebrate. We are also celebrating, but there are one or two things that was not mentioned in our media. Like, are they going to pay off the employees, allow them to go find new jobs, and as they do this major construction?
Just add Grand Bahama to the list of people who don't like me no more, Mr. Newry, because I don't understand what it is exactly we're celebrating yet. And
you don't want to celebrate? It was a big okay, we're going to take this commercial break because everybody and their mother was imported from Nassau to that celebration in Grand Bahama.
See what I mean?
I'm looking at the pictures now, and all my Nassau friends was in Grand Bahama.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can't find your friends in Nassau.
They either in Freeport.
Or they in.
Okay. Guardian Radio A.M. We're going to be right back.
You believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood. We now large and in charge. So we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too? Of Of course we can. But we could be in deep trouble if they find out. We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami. So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles. Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal. So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
Have you already tried our President butter? Ooh la la. Indulge a little with President, because now more than ever, we need to savor the taste, textures, and feelings to truly enjoy the little things that mean the most. President butter, something to savor.
Measles is on the rise around the world, and the Bahamas is at risk,
which makes us very vulnerable as a nation for the possible outbreak of measles cases.
At 1 p.m., the Ministry of Health and Wellness will host MMR immunization visits in South Beach, Coconut Grove, Fox Hill, and Elizabeth Estates. Clinics in these areas will remain open until 8 p.m. twice per week. Get your child immunized now.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Mr. Johnson trying to find Freddie and Margaret looking for Lil. They look all around on Bay Street, Baintown, Palmdale, and over the hill. Cross the bridge to Paradise Island, but alas to no avail. So they all come to one conclusion: they're in Freeport or they're in jail.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio A.M. I mentioned that there was a huge crowd at the signing of this heads of agreement. There was at least 300 to 400 people strong at the signing. I've never seen that before, of a signing of spectators was present. I saw a number of Nassau people, which is cool. Nassau people who I'm familiar with, social media pundits, who were present at the signing. Coincidentally, I'm not sure if they got flown in or anything, but noticeably missing was the opposition, right? I was told.
Were they invited?
I was told that they were officially invited. I'm not sure when they were invited, if they were busy, but I was told that they were also invited,
here's my thing.
but they did not show up.
If you prioritize, I would, first of all, I'm a woman, and I'm miserable half the time. But I would be offended if I realized that the foreign investor had been prioritized in a way that rendered not just the party that has the majority of seats on the island, right? The loyal opposition, right? The opposition. Like you send me, like, you know, I get invites for events 3 hours before the event because I know you really didn't care if I came or not, you know? I would be offended as well. But then I would also say or do something to express that in a substantive way. I wouldn't just sit back and don't say nothing until afterwards, and then if I become the governing administration, do the same thing to the opposition when it's my turn.
So hopefully the leader of the opposition and the F&M team will respond on why they weren't present, right? But they were also cheering and celebratory essence happening at the time. And not celebratory in terms of finally Grand Bahama has getting a boon, but more politically minded. You hear that PLP chant. Is that something concerning, or the idea is
Of course it is.
This government has delivered and just happened to be PLP, and therefore their supporters come out because they understand that the PLP cares. The PLP cares and they have delivered, so therefore political sycophants will come out and share on.
I don't know, Mr. Newry. It's so disheartening to have these conversations, right? Because it's so easy for your critical interrogation to be painted as an attack of the foreign investor. Oh, they're gonna cause the foreign investor not to want to come here and do business, and these people expect rigorous and vibrant critique of what they're doing and the space that they're doing it in. Governance affair, it's not a political affair. You should have had citizens out there. It should have been so exciting that citizens were out there, but it leads to the question, how much of this project do the people of Grand Bahama know about? How much of it are they aware of? How have they been brought into the decision-making process?
Do you care to know how much money was spent for the pump and pageantry, or that's...
Yes, I would like to know. You have a number? Please tell me.
I don't know. No one sent me that yet. But I mean, the idea that big contract, $820 million, going to be spent, surely a little bit of pump and pageantry isn't bad to show the investors that we appreciate you all. Look at you, look around. Let's go to the caller. You turned your back on me.
No, I was wondering who you...
We're talking to him.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm trying to have the conversation you want to have, sir.
Let's
try to be so polite, sir.
Let's go call. Go ahead, caller. We're making it quick. I let you talk. Go ahead, caller.
No, we lost both
callers. Lost both callers. Go ahead.
Yeah, they came in. They both came in at the same time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. We have short memories.
So will the owners? What time is it? 2:58.
Who you don't see in the picture?
Kermit, see if we get anyone on that line there. Go ahead, caller. Yeah, but 2 minutes.
Yes, good afternoon, morning now, still morning. Mr. Newry and Ms. Korean, I'm going to say this on the radio. Both of you know I have the utmost respect and love for both of you. But is it anything that this government here, this team, Brave Davis-led government, can do that can get some type of good recognition from?
This is definitely good. Hardly for this. This is some good thing happening now.
When you ask me that question, I can answer it.
Okay, I can ask you.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing now. I know this is going to go through. And I'm hoping that a lot of Grand Bahamians who are in Nassau, who had to go to Exuma, who had to go all over, can now go back home to work.
Do you know the timeline for this project?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Almost $1 billion they got to spend.
Nobody knows the timeline. This could be. I'm exaggerating here. This could be a 20-year project.
What if they spend $1 billion over 50 years?
$1 million?
No, I say $1 billion over 50 years.
They still spend $1 billion in Freeport.
Cousin, I said, what if they spend the billion? You say they spend nearly $1 billion. What if they spend $1 billion over 50 years?
You mean with employing people and having people at work?
I know, sir. What you call here to do? You call here to have a critical conversation, but I'm glad you asked me the question. No. The truth is, no. There's nothing that the Brave Davis administration has done that warrants the type of celebration that you suggesting that I or Newry generally should be engaged in. Nothing.
I celebrate.
Nothing warrants the level of celebration. Y'all want us to jump up and down because one of y'all figured out how to tie your shoe properly, but you only have on one shoe?
I get it.
And then you have the sock on the foot with the no shoe?
I have a text saying they could not get back to Freeport and back to Nassau to attend Mr. Bostwick's funeral. So they made a decision to stay put to attend the funeral.
Because there's not enough airlift capacity.
Yeah. buck out. They should ask the Prime Minister to go in his jet.
Mm-hmm.
The Prime Minister got back in time.
Remember when they found $25,000 from the Persons with Disabilities Commission to hold a second memorial for Obi Wilchcombe at Bahama when he passed away tragically and unfortunately, remember that?
Apparently, the Shade Affair said that, apparently, according to this texter, that she gave the PLP MPs a ride back because they had no airlift going back and forth. So she helped them out to get back to Nassau.
Texter, let me crack the jokes.
No, this is back.
I know, let me crack the jokes. You all don't come.
It wasn't enough airlift. So, and after they realized they ain't enough airlift, they ain't going up, bud. They ain't moved.
Because they would know, because they from Grand Bahama.
Yeah, they know. Anyway, this has been Guardian Radio AM with CA Newry. Thank you very much for listening as we did that critical analysis. We celebrate. This is big news for Grand Bahama. I'm hoping that the government give us more information on it, as foreigners know more about us on our own hotel sale in the Bahamas. How come nobody knows how much we sell the hotel for, but the foreigners know?
Well, I can tell you on Monday about my little map project, looking for islands and settlements. Like I want a verified list, published by the Bahamian government.
Instead of foreign people.
Yeah. Maps of my own country.
You take care of yourself. Happy weekend. You take care. Bye-bye.
Jump off the point, swim in the ocean. EY, Appy, and the boys. Diamond skin was our notion. Racing old cars was our toys. Hugh, Rio, and Bob Strong. Spy, Donald, and Hartman. I can't get them all in this song, but boys from the rocks, we all got along. From motorbikes to guitar, driving John Road truck, speeding from the drive-in.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.